forums, and I read that, and I'm like, I just bursted out laughing, like on the side of the highway. I'm cracking up.
The best part is Rafter's post reads like a 12-year-old wrote it. It's my favorite part.
I do kind of feel bad for the atheist guy because I'm not like he has like less than 20 posts, right? And apparently
Yeah.
he just like recently joined, and he's gonna.
Wait, and his English is like horrible. I've talked to him before when I was on their TeamSpeak or whatever doing specs with Biona, and like his English is horrible too. So like he doesn't get it.
What is he, French?
He's French, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I feel bad for him because he's gonna get caught up in it and nothing he can do about it. Just like when the whole, I mean, I joined the quarter after their latest kill and I got caught up in it. I mean, I wasn't even there for that kill, so whatever. I took it like a man. Okay, so let's just get started. I'm sorry for the late notice, but yeah, I got today was a 14-hour day at work because we're still fixing storm damage. Unfortunately, I had to go up to fucking Brick Township today and help out there, but whatever. Alright, going in. Let me start the recording. Hello everyone, this is Raidlock episode 3. We're trying a different format today. This format is going to be a slightly shorter format, which I want to test to try and turn this into a weekly thing, which a lot of you have begged for. I do understand that the past few episodes have been kind of long, and I'm just trying to find a happy medium for quality, talk and quality information being given out without cutting too much of the fat. Um, Today we're just gonna, keep it nice and short. We're gonna talk about some of the last minute changes before Storm Legion comes out tomorrow on the 13th. And another topic we're gonna cover is the Tan Man. We have been in it, and we got some stuff to say about it. We're gonna talk about what we thought about the bosses, the mechanics, etc. And give it a thumbs up or thumbs down or neutral, and then we'll discuss this new ranking site that's supposed to come out with SL. Apparently, there's a few that are trying to come out around the same time, but this one's been the one that people have seen the most. So we'll discuss that. And since one of our clerics couldn't show up today, we brought in Boar. We dragged him in here from Trinity again because he's just that awesome, and it's 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and he was like, cool, I want to talk about stuff with you guys. And me, I'll talk about some warrior stuff, although not much to say about that. And Foon is gonna rage at the keyboard very hard. Um, so Bor, you start off with the cleric stuff. Like, what are some changes that have gone kind of last second or in the past week that you think might affect rating in in the first couple of weeks here while we gear up to get into Crucia and don't have the best gear.
Well, I think I'll start out with a positive note since I'm a cleric and we're eternally pessimistic about our place in raids. They did bump our DPS a good bit in our range specs, so Inquisitor will be viable, so all you clerics don't have to worry about being kicked for warriors. Although warriors are still going to handle you quite easily at the dummies and things like that, but such is life. And it looks like there's some speculation, but it looks like Defiler is going live with no damage reduction in the base gift. So it will be interesting to see over the next week or two to see what people are doing with Defiler and Raid, whether or not they're actually running one, and if so, how they're making it work, because it has good potential, but we'll see. And obviously, like, the biggest thing everyone's talking about is the AoE healing nerfs. So AoE healing is horrific bad right now in comparison to live and everything that people are used to. So you're looking at like a well-geared level 60 tune in a really good Warden build, spamming AoEs for just shy of like 3k, so 2.8, 2.9k. So that is very small, and it will remains to be seen what people do with that. And whether or not they end up running, more chlores than they might have, or whether or not they like spam wardens at a fight or something like that. We'll have to see. But I think sort of the biggest thing people have to do. Target healing is really strong right now, and AoE healing is really weak, and the difference between them is massive, like a factor of 4 or 5. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think so. I mean, mitigation is pretty decent. Salvation is still a very good threat. And from what I can tell on the experts that we ran and one raid rift on the beta server, they have not nerfed threat at all. So they fixed the 500% bug. Basically, the increased threat to healing was applying double to salvation when it shouldn't have. And then they fixed it so that overhealing on other targets besides the tank counts, but they did not inherently nerf the threat at all. So warriors and rogues, good luck in the first raiding instance if there are lots of things for clerics to hit. So cleric tank is a really good option right now. Yeah, I mean, Shaman is still pretty good. It's higher than Inquisitor right now. Inquisitor is competitive, so it's going to be within single-digit percents of rogues. And it remains to be seen where warriors land. I think as it stands right now, going live, warriors and mages will be up there for top DPS, with clerics and rogues following behind. Although, if you run a Defiler, you don't need an Inquisitor, but it just depends on whether or not people run a Defiler. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Harbinger seems pretty good.
Point is to bring everything closer than it was. You know, the disparity in DPS and in Chocolate Rift was ridiculous. I mean, especially with clerics. I mean, you would have clerics, 2K DPS behind equally geared people.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general people will be pretty competitive. So if you go into a pug raid with some decent players of other classes and you're a cleric, you will probably beat a good bit of them if you're a good player. It's just it comes when you guys are raiding with your guild, where everybody is a good DPSer. I think more often than not, when everyone's playing at 95% perfect rotations, clerics are not going to be at the top every time, but they're not going to be far behind as it stands right now if warriors get fixed.
That's pretty good. And I'll just say my piece real quick so we can let Foon have the floor. Um, there wasn't any changes in beta. I mean, you still had Riftblade up top, and it seems like they brought Warlord way down where it should be. It shouldn't have been top DPS ever. I'm surprised it survived that long. And then you got 16, the Paragons down in the bottom, which is way harder to play than Riftblade, which is weird. A tougher spec to play is less DPS than a mind-numbingly easy compared to Paragon spec to play in 51 Riftblade variations. And they brought down the gifts down to 1%, which I mean I never said anything big about it because I knew they were doing something to it. I just everyone that asked me, I just pretty much told them, I don't know. There's a reason why they're still there, and I never said I'm for them or against them. It was just one of those things where I wasn't gonna get super angry about it. It's just um, the last minute changes. Like it's every patch with Warriors. They do this giant change at the very end. So I thought the gifts would go through to Storm Legion, but you know how everything's going to get changed. Once everyone hits 60 and they gather more metrics, something was gonna happen definitely, and it's stuff like that that's gonna get changed over and over and over for all the classes once they get the whole population playing the game and they can gather more data. So that's all I gotta say about the Warrior. It looks like they're not as OP as before, um, but still competitive. And you go ahead, Foon. You got the floor.
Uh, Well, basically pre-SL, the the word floating around from devs and CMs and GMs was they wanted to increase the amount of viability for 61, 51 point abilities and builds to become useful in raids, and that is clearly showing in SL. I mean, you're seeing nothing but 51, 61 being top. I mean, 1.11 you got 51 Elementalist, 51 Pyro, 51 Riftblade, 51 Inquisitor has been since like what 1.2. I mean, it's always been there, but rogues basically they have hybrid, mages have some hybrid. There's hybrid here and there, but then you go into anything in SL where you try and hybrid it, and you really want to have synergy. It's you build a build like Harbinger that's air damage, and you have Stormcaller that's air damage. So they buff each other. It's good synergy. You start throwing out parses, and then Kurvik sees it, and it's just like he's got the axe ready, and he just chops it in half. It's nope, not happening. Sorry, too high, too good. Even though, to be honest, it wasn't that good. Like, I mean, he did nerf it a lot. It's still one of our top specs, but I mean, a lot of the devs can take a lot of notes from Kurvik because he did do a very good job at nerfing it to a very significant level. It's still viable, it's still good, and it's still in the game. He didn't nerf it to the to the outs and just kicked it to the curb and said goodbye, see ya.
And what's that spec? The Harbinger's melee spec?
The Harbinger's Stormcaller melee spec.
Okay.
Basically, he just cross-referenced two debuffs and made them not stack, and made some Stormcaller passives in the tree not work for melee abilities, reducing the DPS. So, I mean, Atreus can take some notes from him, Zinbik and Aelion can take notes and say, how are you doing this? I don't know. Maybe all the classes do things differently, but I mean, Kurvik seems to have gotten it right for as far as nerfing something that was overpowered and getting it to where it should be.
Well,
Whereas,
I think one thing
like,
that Kurvik does is that I see these posts he does where he quotes like every single bug that people report or the ones he does get to, and he communicates with the community more. I've seen that always. You might not like say what you want, but I've seen him reply to stuff directly a lot more.
oh yeah, he's always on top of the community, replying to every bug that he can fix, just by himself and off the top of his head say, yes, this is being fixed, or no, hey, I'll look at it, thanks for saying something. Even if it's something small like that, saying, hey, I'll look at it. I mean, it's reassuring the mage community that our dev is participating, and he's sticking with our initial Rift motto that, the community is worth something. As far as mage DPS, we did get a nerf recently. I don't know when it was. I mean, I was parsing like 15 and a half, 16k, and then it just went down to 14 and a half top, which I mean, it's not big, but it's still a nerf.
Is that raid?
And yeah, that's raid buffed.
Okay.
That's according to the raid buff, quote unquote, parameters, which a lot of people don't seem to know how to follow. I don't know why people can't read, but I don't know. There's a lot of things that in Mage need to be looked at and have been said, but I don't know. It just seems that Kurvik's taking a long time on it. Like Elementalist was mentioned when Warriors were doing 20k DPS, which was months and months ago, saying, "Hey, there's a huge mana issue," and it only got addressed, like last week. So it's just like the Warrior thing where their gifts got reduced from 2% to 1 on the last few seconds. It's like,
how is your mana at level 60 then? Your top
it's actually
3 specs?
decent. Well, the melee ones are kind of iffy, but it's nothing that an SL pot won't fix. I mean, I'm sure that every mage and cleric is going to be using at least one pot because I would estimate those to be around 8 to 9k mana, even if you're using the mana over time ones. So that's fairly good. I mean, that's half your mana capped at 17. I mean, even if you're in Dominator and you have like 18,700, it's still half your mana. That's going to get you out of any rut that you're in. Even if you just got Battle Res